Hey folks, welcome back to Hopped Up Beer Review. Today we've got a special treat. We're going back to Ska Brewing, and we're going to have the True Blonde from Durango, Colorado. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hopped Up Beer Review, the show where we give you our unprofessional and somewhat biased opinion about the beer we are drinking and reviewing, and we are back to do that again. We definitely appreciate you checking out this video and welcome you back if you have seen any of our other videos. I've got Andy in the attic, I've got Jay, I am Ben, and we have pulled off the t-shirt trifecta right here on today's episode. Hopped Up Beer Review. We'll put a link down in the description. If you want to get one of these bad boys, it'll be down there. What are we drinking today, gentlemen?
We're going to have the True Blonde from Ska Brewing. Durango, Colorado. The blonde ale. I think let's get to drinking.
None of those fake blondes. Only the true blonde.
And this one was not pressurized, right? It was car transported.
Correct. Only the altitude of the mountains.
Yeah.
So I picked
Durango,
this up.
Colorado.
Yeah, I picked this up in a multi-pack and steamboat. And drove it home.
I still have yet to go to that brewery. I'd love to visit.
Oh, Ben, you messed it up. You could have done the double trifecta.
Just you can also pick up a glass. We'll put that down in the description. Sorry, guys. We obviously didn't plan that out, but beer.
Cheers, mates.
Beer.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
This is a blonde ale, as the name implies. 5%, 20 IBUs. I did a scratch through, so yes, 5.0%. 20 IBUs. It is brewed with honey from the bees of Durango's Honeyville. So a local, I don't know the terminology for beehivery. So
I feel like I should know, but
yeah, there's a word. But the can didn't mention it, but on the site they said that this beer has won about 20 awards.
Oh.
Ska Brewing, a regional brewery out of Durango, Colorado. For a complete yet brief history, go to our review of Ruby Soho. That was our first one. We've also done Modus Mandarina. Don't even bother looking up because Ben won't put a link. So
there.
We've got some more to review after this from Ska.
I think a couple more, right?
Yeah. Should have two more.
I'm done.
That's it? All you have to say?
Well, about Ska, I've got lots to say. Where do I start?
Where do you start? Go ahead.
Where do you start? I was born at a very young age.
Oh my Lord. Well, Durango is a neat little city in Colorado. Has a nice little main street. There's a railroad that runs from Durango to Silverton. It's a single track small, the short track. In the wintertime, it only runs about halfway up the mountain and it returns back. So there is
like a roller coaster.
Sure. There is a ski slope about 30 minutes outside of Durango called Purgatory. They have the nice Adirondack chairs at the base of the mountain where they have tents and people selling Ska beer for the people who sit in those Adirondack chairs at the base of the mountain. the most recent trip I had was to Crested Butte. There's a race called the Great Nordic Alley Loop, and they do a marathon, a half marathon, a 10K, and a 5K. Most of the people in the 5K and or the 10K like to dress up. And what they do is they take the main street in Crested Butte and they fill it with snow. Crested Butte's known for its Nordic skiing. Nice Nordic areas, long winding areas, long straightaways. So Ska was one of the major sponsors for that. And it's they have a tent that they set up at the finish line with this beer and about 4 or 5 others that they just hand out to all the participants and all the fans and everything else. It's a great little party for a day.
Did you not wear the traditional Nordic tutu and Nordic troll hair at this event?
There might be a picture or two of
Pictures.
that. Yeah.
Traditional, getting in the sense of it. You know, if you went to a Oktoberfest, you'd wear some lederhosen. You go to the event in Crested Butte, you're going to wear your Nordic tutu.
Or some outfit. I mean, they had everything from people dressed up as a Yeti to an astronaut to kids that were dressed up as alligators and families that were dressed up as pizza.
Okay. All right.
So there
I
you
take
go.
it. Yeah. Thanks. Everything you laid out there is all great information about some of those areas. It's way more interesting than whatever Andy was about to go into. So I definitely appreciate that, at least from this side, because I know some of that information that about Andy's life, just because we've all been friends for such a long time. And man, that's you're gonna have to start your own channel if you want to lay all that out, because
Right. Yeah, we ain't got time for that therapy.
Yeah, that's a whole team is gonna have to get in on that. So all right, Jay, you're the only one that may have had this before, since you've had some other Ska, even though I brought it back. So you've had this one.
Mm-hmm.
Andy and I have not. Andy, what do you think? Why don't you go first for us?
Where do I start?
No, not again.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming.
Oh, it is a blonde ale, and I don't really reach for a lot of blonde ales because I'm worried of not a lot of flavor. I can definitely get the honey, but I recently had an awesome blonde ale the other day from a regional brewery, and I was like, I've got to compare everything to that one now. But this is easy drinking. I mean, it's typical of a blonde. It's clean. It's not offended. It is crushable. You could have it over and over and over. I give this a 7.0. So I like that little bit of honey. I'd give it a higher score for a little more flavor, but it's a blonde, so you're not going to be overwhelmed by flavor on this. But if somebody gave me another one, I would drink another one.
Yep. I'll go next since Jace had it, and that's our tradition here. If you've had it, you go last. So yeah, I'm right there with you at a 7. That was actually my number as well. And I'm the same thoughts, it's like a blonde. I always really want to like a blonde, and you get one and the flavor is just not always there. Right. And it's a light beer, it's, to me, it's always, blondes are always just kind of a step above a macro, a big step, but it's kind of that progression, where if you get a blonde, if you're somebody who doesn't, or is new to craft beer, and you don't have a lot of, you don't like IPAs, you don't like stouts, blondes are a good spot to go, because, it's just kind of that one step above.
The gateway, yeah. Out of
and I mean, I don't feel like I see a lot of blondes either. I mean, we've reviewed a couple here, but it's always kind of a stretch to even find them to some degree. At least we don't get a lot in our area that I can think of off the top. But for this one, I think it's true to form. It's what you'd expect. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's what a blonde is, and what I've come to expect from a blonde. So I think a 7 is a good solid score for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to force the blondes to be more like those German style Helles, or the actual German Helles, and it's like light, crisp, but those got a little more flavor, and that's what I wish some of these American blondes would be.
Yeah, and I know, Jay, you still got to go, but I feel like anytime I see a blonde and I go and grab it, I'm like, I kind of get a little excited about it because, it's a light beer that you expect to have.
Talking about beer.
Yes, it's a light beer that you expect to have that flavor, but I feel like I'm always just a little bit disappointed in the flavor that I get out of them. And I think that's more me than it is the beer necessarily, because that happens time and time again. And I think back to Biloxi Blonde.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, a brewery that was here in Mississippi on the coast that's no longer around. But yeah, it was the same kind of thing. I mean, it was a really good blonde. I think for the blondes, it was a really good blonde. And that was kind of their flagship. But still, it's kind of like you wish it had just a little bit more.
And we've done a few blondes, but I think the ones that surprised us, because we don't drink a lot, and then when we do, we're like, oh, wow, this isn't bad. I recall the Ghost Train when we were there. We had a blonde, and we really liked that. And then Beach Blonde, 30A or Grayton had a good blonde too. So, it's like you get burned by enough blondes, and it makes you not want to try another one. And then when you get one, you're like, oh, okay, let me try some more blondes, and then you might get rejected by another blonde. Where do I start?
We don't have time for that. We just have just enough time now. We've left just enough time for Jay to go, because you and I just won't shut up. So Jay, Andy and I are going to shut up. What do you think?
I'll make it easy. I'm a huge Ska Brewing fan. I love the flavor. I like the honey. It gives it a little sweetness to it. You guys have babbled on about blondes and how great and wonderful this one is. They also do another one that maybe one day we can try. They do a raspberry blonde, so it's got even a little more twang to it, if you will. Ben word. No, this is really good to me. It has flavor. I love the honey. We've had several beers with honey. Mainly the ones that we see with honey are more on your IPAs, where they're trying to cut them and make them not as bitter. So it's unique in a blonde. I don't know that we've seen honey in a blonde. Maybe we have, but
summer ale.
It might have been that summer honey that we had out of Montana.
But I don't know if that was a blonde. Was that a blonde?
It could have been. But I really like it. I mean, it's a 7.5 to me. Ska up and down. I like their stuff, from the Modus, Moderna, the Checkered Flag that they have, their IPA. This one, Ruby Soho, has always been one of my favorites. That grapefruit lager. But thank you for bringing this back, Ben.
Yeah, and I want to throw in there, I don't get the honey so much. You guys have both mentioned the honey. I can't really pull it out. I've been trying here, and I've about drank it all, trying to get it out of there, and obviously it's very easy, light and easy drinking.
It's crushable, like Andy said. I mean, you could sit here and have several of these. I mean, it's a great river, lake, pool beer, summertime. Up in the mountains, if you're just hanging out, it's awesome.
Yeah, I am having trouble pull that honey out though, but that's probably
It's your taste buds. I mean,
not
that's killed
surprising.
by,
Yeah.
killed by the macros.
yeah. That will be a 7.2 for the True Blonde out of Ska Brewing, Durango, Colorado. Definitely, I mean, as we said, a crushable beer. It's you know, I'm about drank it all. Jay's about drank it all. I'm going to finish it here when we cheers here at the end. But one that you should check out, and again, check out some of our other Ska brewing beers that we reviewed, and you know, you can get our thoughts on those as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, and cheers that notification bell. Check us out on all the social medias and come say hey in our Discord server. We'd love to see you there. And as we mentioned earlier, we're gonna have a link down below. We set up a little Zazzle store that you can get some hopped up beer review merch if it so intrigues you. Why you would want this, I don't know. But if you do, hey, it's out there. So
People like us.
yeah. All right,
Person likes
Stuart.
us.
All right, Stuart Smiley. But no,
Smalley.
Smalley, whoever. We've got the store out there, and we'll be adding some stuff to it. So check in and see if any of it tickles your fancy. For Andy and and Jay, don't look at me like that, Andy.
I'm not
we've
looking
got
at you.
we got a couple extra seconds now. So, you know, where do you begin?
Where do I end?
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates. Where does anyone begin?